Hey, what's up everybody? Still writing invoices and hail estimates by hand? Why? When you can have an app on your iPhone, iPad, or Android tablet that takes all the hassles and messy paperwork away with just a scan, tap, and click. I'm talking about the MobileTech RX Invoice app. Super streamlined for you hardworking and busy techs. Stop sacrificing family time and fun time at the end of the month with statements. With just one click, you can send and forget about it. Check out all these features. Write up an accurate hail estimate in minutes with your favorite matrix or with a popular insurance matrix. Permissions control for who sees what. View sales and reports. Email and wireless print capabilities. And for an additional add-on, you can get the powerful comparative pricing feature. So whether you're one-man band or a large PDR company with a big crew, the MobileTech RX can do it. Get MobileTech RX app today on your iPhone, iPad, or Android device now. Say kids, what time is it? PDR tool time.
This is where we do the dance?
Yeah.
Where's Hiley? We missed him, Hiley.
Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Toledo along with Vince D'Alessandro, Daniel Grom. John Hiley is on vacation, out and about, probably rolling on his Corvette, the wind blowing, whatnot. So let's get it started.
Through the beard.
Yes. He's southbound and down.
And that guy,
Georgia.
that guy over there you probably hear in the background is, let me shut that down now. James Lee. Don't worry. Hey, don't worry, you guys.
Oh, we couldn't hear that. Who do we got? Who do we got today?
Well, I was going to do that. Relax, guys.
Oh,
okay.
Relax. Never mind. Hey, how was your week?
Hold on a second. I didn't introduce him yet.
Oh, we'll do that later.
You're jumping.
How was your week?
It was good.
Yeah. Did you have a good Labor Day?
Yeah. Well, actually, relaxing. Very relaxing. How about you? I had one of the best barbecues last night. Man, I ate, and then I went and got it. Don't ever eat a big meal and then go get a Thai massage. I'm just gonna let you know that, dude. My bowel was moving like left and right.
Were you eating beans too?
Just don't do that, man. I was trying so hard, and I was like, oh my gosh. Man, she was stretching me and all over the place, man. My stomach was ready to blow, dude. Yeah. Just don't do that. Don't do that.
You had bubbles, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So check this out. I went to the Lost 80s concert on Friday and got to see all the great 80s bands. I got to see Berlin.
Who's that?
Tommy Two. Oh my God, really?
They're just trying to see how old you are, dude.
Freaking Flock of Seagulls.
Nope. Don't ring a bell.
Wow.
God, are you guys that young?
No, I know all of them.
Well, that's because you're into music.
I wasn't into. You know what's funny? I wasn't into rock.
Ultra cool.
I wasn't into rock and roll or anything the alternative like that back in the 80s.
This was new wave.
But now I am. I'm like, I like all that stuff.
Well, Mike was into like Run DMC.
That's right. It's tricky.
Yeah.
Dude, I was a Vanilla Ice back then, dude. But
you were,
but
you
way
had
better.
Your eyebrows shaved.
But way better style than that guy.
I used to race jet ski with him, Rob.
All right.
I met him in San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, I raced in San Diego.
Yeah. I heard he's pretty good too. Pretty good. Listen, guys, just before I forget, hey, we have a special guest, James Lee. So I know he wanted to kind of participate in this. He's waiting for his introduction. Sorry about that introduction. But James Lee, how you doing, man? How you doing?
Yes.
Welcome, dude.
Yeah, James in the house.
Yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah. So James, before we get into tools and stuff, man, how did you get into it? I mean, like you just came out of the blue a few years ago with this light. But we're gonna get into that part. I just jumped in front of myself. But how did you get into PDR, and then give us a little brief history of how you did that, and then how did you get into tool making these lights that you have?
We can't hear you.
Yeah.
Well, there comes an edit right in here.
He's coming.
We lost James Lee.
Oh no.
It's not on my end.
Okay, I'm gonna do bad lip what is it? Bad lip syncing.
Hello.
There you
Oh,
are.
there he is.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Can you
right.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I was born to pour
You have
white.
to excuse him. He's on a PC.
Here, we'll leave this in here. Hey, this is what happens, man. Live recording.
Hey, Windows 10.
Should
hold up.
have got a Mac.
Stay on 7. 7's where it's at.
Right.
Yeah, so I was a computer nerd, wanted to do computer stuff when I was younger. Went ahead and pursued that career. Got enrolled into electronics. Complained about it. Said I want IT work. Well, what's this all about? They're like, oh, we're thorough. We're gonna go through all that. So, anyways, I ended up getting an associate's degree in electronics when I was more interested in IT, software, blah blah blah. So got a job doing that, making like $12 an hour. I think's where I ended up. And my brother-in-law was working for the Wiz, making more money than me with the GED. And I just had my first kid, struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, trying to figure out what to do with myself. So I gave that job up, started to work there. That's where I got my PDR start.
So did you start with DW?
Yeah, I started in 2000. Is it 2000 or 2001? I started with the Wiz, and it was just around the time I ran a route for a while. I mean, I went to their school. I put all my effort into this. This was like a career. I saw the potential from the get-go. And when I came out of school, a newbie, I was surpassing some guys that had been out there 2 years, and I'm just like, I could see what it was. It wasn't skill. It was effort, like putting your whole focus and concentration on something. And they were just there. They didn't. It's like almost like an art form. I know I hear that a lot, but it was for me. It was taking something destroyed and making it look new again, and you got a certain kind of satisfaction from that, and it was rewarding. And not only that, but paid well compared to where I was coming up from.
Yeah.
So
Now, James, where are you from?
I'm originally from Cali. I was born and raised in Cali. All my life.
Riverside.
Yeah. I moved from San Bernardino ghetto.
San Berdue.
Yep, the dirty IE, dirty Inland Empire. It's rough being a little white boy out there, but yeah, survived. And then
You talking with all my cousins? Chicano?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Rodrigo? Chicon.
they call me Wedo.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Wedo.
Yeah.
I love all. There's good and bad in all people. I've always been easy to get along with people. There's bad out there, and unfortunately, it's a part of society. But
Now, were you Wiz out here in Cali or
yeah, yeah, man, they started me right on a BMW service drive right out of the gate. And so I had to learn how to sell for the advisors because they weren't selling for me. There wasn't enough initiative for them. So
up in South Bay?
Yeah, it was man, it's been so long. I'm trying to think of where it was. It was near
Torrance.
Torrance is where we had a retail shop. There's a cool guy named Tommy, taught me a lot. I worked with him. Tommy Taylor. He's good people. There's Joe. What is it? Mike Ford was my trainer. That guy is amazing. He taught me so much, accelerated me so quick. Got nothing but respect for that guy.
Yeah.
I actually have a lot of respect for Dent Wizard as a whole. Unfortunately, they kind of turned to the bean counters and number crunching. Now, it's not the whole company. They've got, man, it's like even every company. There's good and bad within it all. I think they have created probably most of their own competition, and it is what it is. But there's leaders out there that go out and they reach a cap and they can't fulfill any more means within a company, and they bring opportunity to the table, and the company's not open to change and to put their trust or risk in you, and so you're left to do it on your own.
You must have been coming in when I was going out. I left September 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So you must.
I just missed you, and they just. I did so well in the route. I needed more money. They put me into the auction.
Yeah.
And I was killing it at the auction, but I was also killing my body. I mean,
sure.
You're talking low percentage, mass volume.
Yes.
And so that was right when they changed their whole pay structure and these tier levels and all this crazy crap happened.
That's why they got rid of me, buddy. I was making too high of a percentage. You came in at 23%. I was going out at 40.
Yeah. Yeah, think about that at the
Yeah.
auction. It's huge.
Yeah.
But I got my start in PDR. It was basically I saw it as a better means of supporting my family, and something I gave up my whole career, everything I went for, and paid student loans for something that I saw a higher potential. And then after being there for 3 years, I reached a cap, and it didn't work out. So, I had to do my own thing. I always respected them. I left on good terms, gave them I'm 3 months notice the first time, I was like, I'm here for you. I'm not trying to burn no bridges. It's just I've capped out. I need more money, and you guys don't have any positions. So, I tried to be a subcontractor. I tried to do whatever I could to make it work.
Yeah.
But,
So from there, where are you now? You're Texas?
yeah, so I ran my own business with my brother-in-law for a few years, and it ended up being a little power struggle. I can be a little passive and easygoing and humble and kind of let him do some things his way, even though behind the scenes I would tell him what I foresee happening and where we need to change. But it was kind of, how some of these Dent guys, they get a little big-headed and they get a little cocky and nothing can touch them. And he didn't want to adjust to where we needed to adjust to maintain.
Yeah, I've never seen that in this industry.
Yeah, yeah. So I didn't have, the power. He was in more of the monetary control position, and I was more below him, really running the show. But he had handle of finances, so I was tied up. I had Dent Wizard calling me all the time, wanting me to come back, begging me to come back, do this, do this. The housing market crashed. What was it, like 06, 07? I had some of our dealer routes. We had like a whole block in San Bernardino. It was almost like a motor mile, what we call out here. And literally we show up from one weekend, windows boarded up, no cars on the lot. They just shut up shop, owed us thousands of dollars. So it became a real struggle. We started competing with guys doing cars for $35 a car, touch up and dents.
Wow.
Couldn't fix a dent to save their life. But what you've learned in this industry on the wholesale game is if the customers aren't complaining and the cars are selling, it don't matter. It's all about bean counting.
Yeah.
So I competed with that and said, I figured out how to mix some retail in, but I have nothing but admiration for you guys in California who were able to make it through that struggle. Like, that was a very hard time for me, and there was some.
No, it was a hard time for all of us.
Yeah, where I was living, poverty, high gang activity. I had my daughter and myself, grew up in it. I was like, I want out of this. I feel like I can't protect myself. It's not a good place to raise my children. And so as Dent Wizard contacted me the last time, I was like, I tell you what, just get me out of Cali, give me some work, and I'll go wherever you want me. I want a new start. And there's an opening in Texas. And so I'd been to Texas before with some family, and I liked it, except for, the hot humidity and these allergies. I'm like Mr. Nasal talk all day long now. My nose is just stuffed. But Texas, man, I really love it. It reminds me of California, the Austin, Texas, at least. It reminds me of California like 10 years in the past. People are cool out here. It's not like riding cowboys, yeehaw, this and that, but they have the pride. I carry a gun. I'm a CHL holder. I love the fact that playing fields even. My children are trained in firearm safety. If a 200-pound man breaks into my house, my 12-year-old or my 11-year-old can put him down. It's like I don't have to worry about that here. We're protected here.
I'll tell you what, partner. I wish you would.
That's right. That's right. No, but it's true. Cali is so restrictive that way. Sometimes the victim has no rights.
No, I'm a gun owner, but
I'm a gun owner.
We
Daniel, you're a gun owner?
Oh yeah, I get my AR.
I was gonna say, you freaking liberal.
With your 10 round mag though, limited 10 round mag.
Oh, they're trying to take that stuff. Well, that's another thing. But
He's such a great shot. He only needs one shot. One in the chamber. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry. I'll speed this up. I got sidetracked. So yeah, that's how my life evolved. I came out here. I came up here when I moved my whole family out here. I had gone out here for 2 weeks, checked out the route. I was like, yeah, I can make something happen with this. They had floaters covering it. And load up the U-Haul, drive the family out here, move into our little apartment, duplex, whatever. Our poor selves were making it happen. go to our biggest account. That was like, if I have this account, I can grow from here. We lost it as soon as I got in. Whoever was covering it lost it.
Oh.
I literally camped out on the lot and was like, I just moved my whole family out here, bud. I was like, I know what you've been dealing with this inconsistency, blah, 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 you know, sold myself. I'm going to sit here. And when this guy says he can't fix something, I'm going to fix it for free. And when I do that, you give me a second chance. I sat there for probably like 3 days and finally said he couldn't do something. I was like, man, I don't know if I can do it, but let me try it. And I wasn't perfect, but it was good enough, you know, where they didn't feel like they needed to paint it or body shop it or anything. And, you know, they didn't see that. I think California, from what I experienced, at least in my area, I know every region's different as far as competition, but competition in Cali, you got to be a badass, top-notch dent guy to compete in Cali. You got to fix crushed stuff. It's got to be clean, and that's who I was. And even when I wasn't getting paid to do that, it was like, man, I couldn't pull myself off, even though I knew what they were paying for. It's like, it's my name, it's my pride, it's my integrity, it's everything. I'm putting myself into this panel.
That's a business card driving down the road when you're done.
Right. And so I was glassing everything, and I was making less money than, you know, techs under me because they could bump and run. They could, you know, they could leave that thing looking okay, not finished, but sell it. And I had to learn to do that on some of these wholesale lots too, give them what they actually were paying for. And
well, I think that obviously carries over to what our next topic is your product, your lights, your everything you seems that you put out is very good quality. Obviously, this is the first time that you're actually finally bringing out this glue gun. You introduced this glue gun last year. I don't want to put the horse in front of the cart, but I'm going to let you talk about your tools. Before we talk about the products themselves, how did you now start developing a light, dude, or get into this stuff? Obviously, your background's computer and a little bit of electrical stuff. Are you one of those electrical wizards?
I would say I could be. I think everybody can do anything they put their mind to. Anything. It's like, you know, my kids will say, oh, I don't know how to do this. It's like, well, I've seen you, you know, go over here and do 3 backflips in gymnastics. It's because that interests you and you like that. Well, if you can put your mind and focus to anything, you can do anything and accomplish anything. It's just where our interests lie or what we do because we have to do it to survive. The light throughout tools and PDR, you guys probably know, you've been in the game long enough. We didn't have all these luxuries of these awesome tool manufacturers making us these great products. We were making our own stuff, or we were buying stuff and modifying.
Yeah.
We didn't have these luxuries. I remember doing PDR when people weren't allowed to watch me. It was like, I'm sorry, this is a secret process. You can't see what I'm doing. That was the days of quarter-size dent, $100 on a dealer. That was when money was, you know, real good in this industry. It's still there. It's just, you know, the market's been flooded, you know, a little bit, and then more of the wholesale area. It's still money. There's tons of money in this market. We just forget, you know, we kind of forget our roots. We get a little spoiled, you know, in this industry. And be honest, for what we do, we get paid well, and I'm thankful for that. But anyways, what I'm saying is, yeah, where my tools come into that, it's like I've always been developing tools my whole time, and I've always been an electronics geek, so I've always been able to like figure out components and know how things work and know how to make them to do what I want. It was the manufacturing side and the mass production which just thrown me off. I could always make stuff for myself or friends or family. Having to get something that you can mass produce, unfortunately, you have to make some compromise. Like, there's just some stuff they can't do that I would have to do by hand. You know, even if you looked at my original base models, they were way more sophisticated than what you see now. I had to compromise so that they could actually make a mold of what I wanted to do. So I'm hoping as technology improves, my product will keep improving. I mean,
so your product is already improved in your head, or what you really want it to do. It's just not, the technology hasn't caught up to what your idea is, basically.
It's either can't be done or can't be done cost effectively. You know, no one's going to pay $1,000 for a 14-inch battery powered light, you know, and neither would I.
So James, for our audience who may not know exactly what we're talking about, may not. If you don't, you've probably been in the dark a little bit, but we're talking about a cordless light that runs off a Makita battery, now a Milwaukee or DeWalt. And one of the cool things about this light, it's obviously it's a wide light, 14 inches, the first one you came out with. But the main thing is that it was completely cordless. I mean, there was you couldn't tangle it. There was no wire showing, no nothing. You could spin it.
Yeah.
You could do whatever you wanted to. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah. I mean, that was the main thing. I mean, okay, so there was lights out on the market, and there were some good lights, but it seemed like even from conception, I don't know about you guys, but I have always had stuff breaking and, you know, going wrong. And I know I'm one of those guys that's a little rough on my light. And even when I take care of them, though, you know, something would happen. It would start flickering, or a bulb would break, you know, or the cigarette lighter fuse would pop, or the thing would come undone, and you'd have to like cut wires and splice and do all that. You're always over there doctoring your light just so you could work. And then there was just lots of things I didn't like about them, so I started making my own. I can remember like the epiphany I had when I was like, oh my god, I want my light to work off this battery, so I don't have to carry around another battery and wait 6 hours to charge it. You know, it's like these batteries and these tools are great. They're never gonna make a PDR line of tools. And so I just started monkeying around and making my own stuff. And then, you know, I thought nothing of it. It was just for me. Like, I've done my whole career, I've made tools, custom tools. I've heat torch stuffed and bend them and grinded them, give them the angle I need to get where I need to go. And then, you know, if people start making those, and sometimes they improve on what you have had, and then they make it professionally, and you're like, oh wow, I'm buying that. And you're like, whoo, buddy, you know, this is what I was trying to do, but they got the manufacturing skills to do it. So it just slowly developed. People started seeing it, not just dent techs, but body guys and mechanics and customers. They just started like complimenting me on this light. They're like, wow, what is that? Where'd you get that? And I was like, I started thinking, you know, maybe I got something here. And that's when it just researched, went gung-ho. Just like I left my job to pursue a career, I had no idea what it fully was. I did the same thing here, but used my profits from my dent business to finance this, and this went out on a limb. And I mean,
you had that thing manufactured overseas?
There's local parts, and there's overseas parts. Most of the overseas parts are the plastic components, because this is my experience where I learned why everything says made in China. And I'm one of those guys, like, I'm American, and I want to support American business. I like to support small business. I buy a lot of things from local vendors. I like to keep my money local. I know what impact it has on the economy and families. And so I went through at least eight, had to find at least 8 manufacturers that I tried to pursue. And this light at cost would have been over $300 to produce here. So I just couldn't do it. And that's when I learned why a lot of these tags have made in China on them. So like the tray, the base housings, the molds are manufactured overseas for sure.
Now, how hard was that experience?
It was. It's still a pain.
Yeah.
You know, our presidency candidacies right now are not the best. But if Trump says that he'll take away these tax imposing that they have on the U.S. that's driving all the business overseas, it's one of the things I hope more than anything happens, because I want to call a guy up on the phone. I want to meet with him in person. I want to show him what I want. I want to inspect my product in front. And this communication block and error that I have dealing overseas, it's mind-racking. I can't stand it. And so I hope
I got to give you some credit just for coming out with such a great product, doing it overseas. I mean, that's ridiculously. I mean, you had to have some persistence on that, man.
I got robbed once. So I got taken advantage once. I went through 3 different manufacturers that all produced a good sample and a crappy final product. Like, they give you this nice sample. It's smooth, it's good, there's no imperfections, and then you order 1,000 units and you get them and you're like, trash. I have trash bin. I have thrown away thousands of dollars worth of material because I will not allow that to be my name. It's like when you mess up a dent, you crack the paint, you go, I'm sorry, I can't charge you for this. And there's like, oh, you know, let me tip you at least, or no, I think it looks great. You know, you're the type of guy, you hold that type of integrity that you're not like, oh crap, I've got all this money invested in this, I better dump it on my customer. You know, there's companies like that. You know where those customers are today, or those companies are today? I don't know. I don't see them. They're under. I will never hand off anything to my customer that I'm not comfortable with myself. And to be honest, even the version 1 release was a compromise and hard for me to release. I was like, I'm not going to release it yet. I had to get pushed into releasing that by the people that were like, dude, this thing's great. Look what else is out there. What are you saying? I was like, I want to do this. It needs this. This is still lacking. And they're like, no, shut up. It's awesome. You can improve on it and, make new models. So I had to actually be like, okay, I see that. Yeah, I guess you get an iPhone, and then they upgrade it every year. So I was like, okay, right. It's not a bad product. I'm just being
I just want to let you know, still my favorite light is version 1. For me.
I think, Mike, that's the one you gave me, right?
I gave you one. Yep. And I still use it, James.
I use it every day. I haven't upgraded. I haven't had the need to upgrade.
That one will never be ever, like, nobody will ever, like, everyone always wants, I'll give you this much money for your light. I'll give you this much or this. I will never sell that light. That's my favorite because, matter of fact, I need to send it back to you, and I don't want to send it back to you because I want you to design it exactly the way you designed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyways, but yeah.
Yeah, that was keep it simple. See, then you get all this input, and you get a lot of good input, and you get a lot of input from certain people you can never please, and that's why it's kind of evolved. The biggest thing was I was an outside guy. I needed the light to be bright, so I didn't put a dimmer in there. I was like, I don't need a dimmer.
Neither do
I developed the light for what my use was, and then I get it out there, and the route guys, like
too bright, right?
Dent whiz guys, they ate it up. And then it's like the Hill guys are like, man, this thing's awesome. I'm killing rails with it. I'm starting deep dents, cross-checking on my Hill cars. But they're like, it's so bright indoors. And so that's why I was like, okay, I'd had to develop the dimmer. And, that was one of the things, again, where
I've never used the dimmer. I always and I work inside, and I like it bright.
That's me. That's me too.
Yeah. I'm a long guy. Yeah.
I can understand it, but in order to try to please the customer and learn that there's all these different styles, and so now I've got to make this light, try to compromise and make it work with so many different styles. Like you've taken over the line side. It's like, cool. We make the Mike Toledo series. Brandon David has come in and taken over, these fade strips and these colors. And it's like, he's like, I honestly
too much options.
Person to admit it's not just that, like that. I developed the fade with the LEDs exactly to my perfection for me. Like it is, I use a clear lens outside, I use a white lens inside, and it is perfect for me. But then I learned, all these guys want all these options, and then I start learning some of them are new, and they're looking for this magic tool to do it for them instead of putting in the time and learning how to see their tip. Because when we started, we could fix a dent with a broomstick and a PVC pipe. It's just what we had, we would get it done. And so some techs, I tried to evolve some things too much to try to appease some techs that they just didn't have the skill or they didn't have the time or the training involved into doing it, and nothing you give them or put in their hand or in front of their face was going to make them, better. You got to put in the time and effort. This is a skilled trade.
What version are you on right now of that light?
We're in version 2, revision 1. I've already got version 3 in the works, but I'm going to skip a year on this release. I'm going to spend a lot of in-field. There's still some component failures we've been having that are unexplained, and I'm going to blame China. I can't get those parts locally. I found a local electronic supplier. I ordered them, same model number, same everything I'm getting from the source. He's just playing a middleman. So it's like you try to buy local, man, and they're getting it from the same place. They're just playing the middleman. And so like nothing is American made anymore. It's so hard to find these American made.
It's a shame,
parts.
isn't it?
Well, it's assembled. It's assembled in America.
It is. And so is ours. And I will tell you what, our assembly blows it out of the way. Because their assembly, they'll charge you like $1 to assemble one of my lights. Well, I gave them a chance. I was like, $1? Yeah, sure. Send me some samples. Yeah. That ain't going nowhere. Just send me the parts. Yeah, we'll do our own assembly. Thank you.
Now, I remember, Mike, when you might know the year, but I think that was we went to MTE and you came home with the James Lee, the Elim Dent light. And
that's the one I have still. The first one.
You had a booth. What year was that, James? Was that 3 years
2013,
ago,
right?
2013.
2013.
Yeah, so about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I know you blew out of every single light that you brought there, and it was very successful for you. And we loved it immediately. We were back in the hotel room playing with it, and we got off the plane. I don't think he never took it out of his hands. We flew back from Florida.
Yeah.
And he gets to my driveway, and it's like 11 o'clock at night, and he turns that sucker on. And I swear, the ghetto copter in Long Beach came by thinking, going on. It's like,
It'll give you a suntan.
dude, it lit up the whole sky. I'm like, holy shit, that thing is bright. Turn it down. My neighbors are coming out. But I have that light. I have the original light. Mike passed down one of his. I think you gave him a couple of them, and it's definitely my go-to light. And I love it.
Your light actually, I think, changed the industry completely. I mean, you threw the big boys on their backs with that thing. I mean, you knocked it out of the park right out of the bat. And here's a small business guy and showing up the big dogs. And, kudos to you for doing that.
Well,
first of all,
I appreciate that. And now being, being in this industry, I didn't realize, I thought PDR is one of the most cutthroat industries out there. I've dealt with it all. I fight to have what I've got. I've done so much. I put in so much work, to develop my PDR side, and then jumping into this tool industry, it was like I didn't even have a Facebook account. I was the type of guy that was like, I got time, for all that. I'm chill with my wife and my kids. I do that stuff. It's amazing how this life, there's a balance of everything. There's such a good part that comes from Facebook, but there's such a distraction and kind of a drama and a bad vibe that could sometimes come into your personal life. And I never had a Facebook until I had this light, and I found some cool forums when I was looking up. There's like some really cool forums where these Dent guys were meshing, and I was like, man, this is really cool, because every time I see a Dent guy around here, it's like, screw you, buddy. It's always like, get off my lot, whatever. It was so cool to be able to meet some guys that you could just talk with and relate to like they're best friends almost. It's like you go to MTE and you just mesh with everybody. It's such a cool vibe. So I get a Facebook account. I throw this video up of this light. I'm like, hey man, I love MTE. I'm a fanatic. I'm a tool hound. I go to MTE all the time. I make my own tools. I do all this. Throw a video up. It was up for 1 week. I get a lawyer, cease and desist letter in the mail, and then I get, Ultra contacted me wanting to do buy me out, basically, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm getting sued, and people trying to take over my product right from the gate. I'm like, I guess I do have something here, and so
who's trying to sue you?
Boom.
We'll leave that.
Yeah,
come on, Daniel.
Okay.
Just out of respect for the industry and people, I just got out of a lawsuit. One of the big dogs just sued me over them copying my product and me telling them, hey, one of the things that pisses me off so much in this industry is the lack of individual thought process and bringing your own thing to market. Yeah, products are going to have similarities. Improve them, make them better, and you have something new. If you want to just take my product that I've put thousands of hours and life savings into, and to develop where it is now, and you want to just think you can copy it and skate free like all these guys, they're all doing it. They're all copying each other. And I have products that I've released that have already been copied. My claw was copied in 2 weeks. It was a product that was just like a freebie, it wasn't a heavy design. It was like, no one's ever thought of this. Look how simple it is. Suction cup, spinal cord, a claw. It's a heat gun holder. But it's those simple things that people don't think of. I'm not going to waste my time patenting and pursuing. There's not enough money to defend that. But I sent somebody, I'm not going to say out of respect to for the industry, they blatantly copied me. And I sent them a letter trying to come to an agreement. Hey, look, I got other people paying royalties for my technology that I've developed and that I'm using. If you want to do the same, we can work out an agreement. Decided, nope, you're a small guy. I'll punk you. I'm going to sue you. He sued me in his local court. and let's just say we ended up with a settlement on that one. Everything's good, but I will defend my product. This everything bases around this light. Everything that I'm going to come out with now, this light has financed everything else. So I'm not. That's where you guys were saying like, wow, you made the big dogs start scrambling. It's because they got lazy and they got complacent, and they had a product that worked, but it could have been improved on. But they're in it for profit. They're in it for money. So not all of them. I mean, Steve at Ultraman, that is a great company. I will stand by him forever. The Dentcraft guys, the A1 guys. There's a lot of superb people that are just like us that were Dent guys, and they kind of evolved into, what's your retirement strategy or what can you bring to the table in this new market. So I'm not saying it's the whole industry, but just like there's snakes in the PDR side.
Yep.
There's unfortunately some snakes in this tool side.
Well, when it comes to money, people act funny.
Yes.
That's basically how it rolls. So,
and so I'm just going to keep innovating, and my product's just going to stand for itself.
Let's move things on to what you got new, because you're burning up the internet with some of the new stuff. So let's talk about some of the new stuff. And if you guys don't have his light, then you're just dumb. So just go out and buy it right now. Lay down the money.
And where do they get that at, James? Where do they go? Where is that light available at the?
You can go to eliminate.com, limitedtools.com, limited.net.
I got a cool little story. So I have a local. He used to be a dent wizard, but this guy, he doesn't buy new tools. He's worse than Vince. He hasn't bought anything new.
I got those guys.
I saw him. I lent him the light. I have 2 or 3 of your lights. So I go, dude, you don't have one of these? And he showed me his board. He had a reflector board that was so chewed up and scraped up, and it was no longer a line board. It didn't even have a line, and it was so worn out. And I go, how are you even using this thing? I go, here, borrow this thing. Let me tell me what you think. And not a week later, he brought it back. He broke it, but brought it back and says, I ordered one. And I'm like, okay.
I remember his call. I totally remember the guy. He called me. There's two different types of guys in this industry. There's like the real frugal that will get by with the bare necessities and make some of his own stuff. And then there's the guys like me that are just like a tool hound. I've got a pile of tools sitting in the garage that are junk, but I bought them because I tried them. Or there's those ones that are like, I keep it in my arsenal, but it sits in the truck of the van, and I pull it out on that one dent that you get every once in a while. But when you pull that sucker out, man, I'm glad I got this.
We're cut from the same cloth, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's go on to what you got new, man. What do you got new?
Well, the newest iteration to our light, one you guys will notice.
James, hold on a second. Hold on a second, James. Before I don't mean to interrupt you, guys. If you guys are listening to this podcast, you can actually go to pdrtooltime.com, check out episode 33, and you can see a video of what James is talking about and see his products. So didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, James.
No, you're good. So we're constantly evolving. We've changed components as our lights have gone. As we found any type of faults, we're just constantly improving them. So there's things that have changed in the lights that people just have no idea from because they're internal. But this would be our newest version of the light. We have come out with our single spinal cord, which is a single lock design. It fixes all the flaws of the original, which had 2. And you'd have to cinch 2 sides, and because of tolerance issues and the plastic injection, some of them would cinch up like we wanted to, and then some would not tighten fully all the way, and you would really only notice it on the heavier like 20-inch board, where if you're cocking that thing way out and you want it to sit level like on a horizontal crease, it'd have a hard time supporting the weight. This stuff, man, it flows so much smoother. It locks tight or loose. I like to go tight like here and just get looser as I go up, and then that way it supports the weight perfectly, but if you need to move it, it's a real simple, it's like,
so you like the tension tight near the suction cup base, and then loosen it as we go.
That's a good tip.
So start tight, like get tighter, and then just slowly loosen it. Like if I'm doing, so I had to hire, like we have 3 assemblers now. We've been so busy that I've trained them, the best I can, and I final QC everything. But there's certain times that I can't hit all these links perfect, but like when I get them, I have like torque settings in the drill, and I go like, I'll start off with like a 4 and zap, 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 like the first 3, and then I'll kick it down a click on the clutch and then zip it, and I just go lower. But you'll fine tune it by your hand. And some people might get frustrated where they're like, this is an extra setting they're not used to dealing with. And the first initial thought is, oh yeah, I want this thing tight. So they're like, rat. Well, this thing will get so tight, you sit it on the car and you go to move the board and it's so tight, you're just like, punk, you'll pull it right off the vehicle. So the main thing is what we're trying to do is we want flexibility, but we also want it to support its own weight. The biggest problem with Lockline has been anytime you would have to move the whole board, unsuction it, move it, and loop it, loop the lock line so it would support the weight of the board. You'd have to do it right. With this, you can you could kick it all the way out. You could kick it flat. All you got to do is, it's going to stay.
Now that looks a lot longer than your previous versions. Is that what you got going there?
No, we used to do 12 links in the version 1 because it was lock line. This was before we invented this. Yeah. And we had to shorten it up to hold the weight. So now that we can support the weight, we are able to add 15 links. And this stuff is like lock line's about an inch. This is about like an inch and a quarter, inch and 3/8, whatever. It's longer. Yeah. So we're able to, increase that range of that. And again, that helps you for moving the board less. You can just grab the board itself and position it where you want to go.
Nice.
Now, does Lockline have a product like that?
Now, what happened, I had called them before. See, I didn't want to invent this. Like, their product was so close to it. I called them, and I gave them this idea. They told me there wasn't a big enough market for it. There's not a big enough market
for
it.
Our PDR market isn't big enough for them.
Yes. And you know how much crap we buy from them? When the CNC machine guy buys Lockline, it's a one-time purchase. We're buying it over and over and over. So it blew my mind.
You know what? I hope they regret that.
They don't do any information tracking where their product is going.
Well, they're upset because anytime I develop a product, I don't want to infringe on anybody's stuff, and I don't like lawsuits. This last one was a waste of money compared to the output. It's not fun. It's stressful. It's time consuming. It's money. So I put in, and it's not. You could put in all this time, and they can sue you anyways. You could sue anyone for any reason at any time. So if these big dogs felt threatened and they come in and want to punk the little guy so they can get me out of the way, that's what they tried to do. But I defended myself, and this company was one of them. When I was giving them $1 million idea, said, this is it, make this, I will buy this from you. I've got a market for it. Let me buy it. I understand, I guess, why they didn't want to, because the mold cost on this thing was like $25K. So it wasn't cheap for just the mold cost and then producing the parts and yada, yada. But they now developed, after I came out with this, they called me and they made me add this registered trademark to all their Lockline stuff. They're all upset because they don't have a patent, but they have a trademark. So they made me go in and make sure that I don't mix my name with theirs. And I had to call some of my vendors because they were calling it Lockline and they got upset. But I didn't want to mess with this. I had my plate full what I wanted to do, but because nobody wanted to do it and I thought they were the perfect company to do it, they passed on the idea. So I was like, well, fine, I have to do it then. So I went and forked out the money to develop this, and I developed the first version, wanting this version. But the compression molds, these molds that they wanted to do, like this single mold was so much more expensive than that double mold I did. So when I say I have to compromise sometimes, I had to compromise on that design. And again, what happens is the samples I got were perfect, man. They cinched up perfect. Everything worked perfect. And then as I ordered thousands of them, I'd have to sit here and throw some of this crap out because it's there's intolerance problems here. And so that led me to then evolving and forking out the money for this.
Now, what did Lockline say about that? What you say? You kind of left me in the loop right there.
So if they want to do this, I'd ask them to make these rings that they had for their smaller diameter. They had the smaller diameter Lockline. I think Pro PDR uses it on their older lights.
Yeah.
Like 3/4 inch to the whatever the smaller one is. Well, they have these rings you can put on there and you can lock, and they're a pain in the butt to like mess with and get on there, but they worked. They tightened up the sloppy spots, but it's not without its imperfections. But I would have been happy with that in the next evolution. And I asked them to make the big rings, and they told me no. And so if I was going to go and make a product, okay, I can spend maybe 8 to 10 grand for that ring mold. I'd just rather go all the way, spend another 15K and get, the real deal. Because the problem with those are you'd have to put them on every link, or you put them on just where it's sloppy, and then the light can still pop apart. And you got to remember you have internal wiring in there. That could cause damage. So we just went full blown and did it to what we thought was best.
Go big or go home.
Yeah.
And you sent me one of those as a sample, and I ended up using it on my heat gun.
Right.
And I bought a.
Where's the review?
Well, the heat gun that I use is really heavy,
right?
And that thing was the only thing that would work, and it is a big improvement. You nailed it this time.
Yeah, I wish I would have just gone with my gut in that one in the beginning, but I wasn't sure how it was going to be perceived by the people. If I was going to spend, because you got to realize, like, you got to spend thousands on molds, you got to spend thousands on R&D, you got to approve the samples, and then once you finally get all that, you have minimum order quantities. So we're talking like, I got to spend 50, 60K on product. Otherwise, they're not even going to print it. They're like, it's a waste of our time to print, 500 pieces of spinal cord. We want 10,000, and so it's a big investment. And I added bulk, it added some weight. I didn't like some of the edges, even though it's plastic, and I kept the bolts secured underneath the housing. The plastic, if you scrape it, just right, even your board, you run this across the board, if there's sand or dirt, debris, it can leave hairline scratches. So I went with the cheaper mold on the double spine, but all the ones that I tested in the samples were like beautiful. And we've got tons of them with the double spine that work as intended.
Yeah.
But like he's saying, once you get to heavier stuff like that heavy heat gun, you cinch those things all the way up, and if it's extended way out to the end, it's gonna sag or flop. And
I got a tech tip though for those guys who have those, the older versions and whatnot. But I'll tell at the end. But moving along, James, because I know there's a couple more products you got. So So let's talk about let's talk about
your glue gun, man.
I wasn't expecting so I had been tinkering with these glue guns.
I haven't got it. I've been looking every day in the mailbox, dude. So.
I know. I couldn't even send it to you because they sold out so fast. I'm sorry. But we only got a small shipment of our first batch. I've had to outsource assembly on these because I'm too busy assembling boards. I'll be honest with you. I'm still in there. I'm not just pointing fingers. You build this, you build this. It's just like my Dent business. It's my baby. I have a hard time giving up control, and I want everything to be right. It's my name again. When someone gets a product and you probably hear a lot of this always, good customer service, because when something goes wrong,
it's like a review. It's like a review, isn't it?
I know how it feels. I feel let down. I put my trust. I had all these other people to buy from, and I chose you. And I got your product, and it's failing. And it's like, I make sure I do everything I can. The biggest thing I've learned with these electronic components, there's so many components. There's so many things that can go wrong. And be honest, when I get some of these boards back that I've warrantied, I probably shouldn't have warrantied them. It was straight abuse. But I don't think it was done intentional, I want a new board, wham, I'm going to send this in and make him clean it up for me. So,
what though? You know what, James? At least most of those guys, it seems like, is they shout out on Facebook
they do.
That you did do it. And I think that's what pays off in the end.
I'll be the first to say my success, any success that I've had is because of my customers. I just treated them in the same way that I would want to be treated if I was in their position. And it has, evolved. Like, marketing and stuff, I don't even have to spend a lot of time on that. Everybody is promoting the product for me,
especially those awesome Toledo reviews too.
Yeah, hell yeah. the Mike Toledo videos are off the hook.
But it's the same thing that Apple does. You're following their philosophy, and obviously it's worked for them.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into what's up with this glue gun. Come on, let's talk about this, man. Everyone's like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah. So I've been playing with this thing forever. I mean, almost directly after my light, it was one of the next things I pursued. And I found this Snap-on gun, and I was like, man, I love the Snap-on gun. There's some things I didn't like about it, and
the first version, right?
Yeah, what's crazy is I almost want to say there's our quality. It's degraded on that gun. I don't know what happened.
That's what I said. The first version, I was referring to the first version gun. The second gun is just horrible. Just absolutely horrible.
Wherever they're getting their heaters from inside their guns, they're failing. Every time one needs repair, it's the heater core. It's that heater element. And I have a gun that's still with me. It's over 2 years old, and I've been running my adapter on it. And I had people calling, and then I bought some for my techs, and they started failing in 6 months. I'm like, damn, okay, now I see what my customers are saying. I started like revamping my adapter, going, is my adapter somehow damaging these guns? I started looking into all this, and I figured out it's just that heater component. It's that element. So I put this to the side. I had some 12-volt guns attached to these bases, even on the version 1 day.
Can you be descriptive for our listeners about what you're showing us?
Yeah, so this is our 18-volt. This is the Makita version. It's got the bigger battery on it, but it's an 18-volt cordless glue gun. We have it in DeWalt and Milwaukee. So basically, let me see. Can you see these in here?
Yeah.
Are they showing up?
Yeah.
Okay, so you put your battery on there. This is your master power button. This is your battery indicator. It'll be green when it's fully charged. It'll stay green as it discharges. When it turns red, you have roughly a 5-minute warning when it's going to die. But after it even turns off, the heating element's still hot. So when that turns red, you got about 10 minutes of use. This is our low setting, 325 degrees. So for all the guys that like the Black & Decker gun and the low temp glues, that 325 setting is awesome, but you'll notice a much smoother trigger pull with ours. I mean, it's like effortless. Then you go over here and you flip it up to high, and you'll see the second light kick on. So you got low, high, and that's 385. There are like 5 degree tolerance in Fahrenheit, so it could be 380. But at 385, and that's optimized for most of the like purple, red, pink, the high temp PDR glues. But I've noticed tab weld likes low. And we spent so much time to match the heating element with the nozzle with the trigger so that we'd have a non-leaky gun. That's my favorite thing about the Snap-on gun. It didn't leak. It leaked during heat up. It was a little, like they all do, and then it stopped. Yeah. Most of these other guns I'm using are just dripping or sieving. So if you notice this gun dripping, then that means you're using a low temp gun or low temp glue on the high setting. So kick it down to low. That means you got a low temp glue. So that's the only time it will ever drip is if you have a low temp glue and you have it running on high.
That's interesting. So just for our listeners, do you know off the top of your head what type of glue sticks are low temperature and which ones are high?
I've noticed almost all clear glues, like Walmart glues, Aero glue, even the amber, like gluesticks.com glue, which is honestly my go-to glue for the cheap glue. I've changed now. Right before I ended my pushing, I saw the value in like Anson Green. It pulled. I've even heard you guys discuss, you don't always need the highest strength pulling glue. And so what the Anson Green did was gave me a nice pull, but an easy cleanup. There was no like brittleness or scraping stuff off the car. It peeled off really nicely. I can move on quick. So all those type glues, like the clears, the ambers, tab weld, green can honestly be run at low or high, but the ratings that it says is high. So clear is low setting almost all the time. The purple, the green, the pink, like orange fire, all those typically like a high setting. But I have seen even on some Walmart glue, I put it on high and I hit that perfect popping point. You let it sit too long, it gets too hard and brittle. You get that spongy part and you yank it, you'll get a sick pull on either setting. But you hit the correct temperature for the glue and you get that optimal adhesion. So most clear glues low, most colored glues like the red, any hot I would say hot weather glues mostly like the higher temp. They have a higher.
Now, how long are you getting out of like that Makita battery there?
It's a 4.0, right?
This one might be a 3. Yeah, this one's a 3. But oh no, this is a 4. Sorry, 4.0 is usually what I run. Now they've got the 5s and even 6s. The 4.0 is the biggest battery I put on it, and I almost get 4.5 hours every time. What I do notice on the lower batteries, I put like a 2.0 in there. Sometimes I only get an hour and a half. So that initial heat up is really draining those little batteries. So the little batteries have a hard time with the heating element. So I honestly don't recommend anything lower than a 3 amp hour. With a 3 amp hour, you get right about 3 hours. Once you step up to the 4, you get about 4.5. So I would assume a 5 would give you right around 6. And this is on the high setting. You kick it on the low, you're going to get a little better runtime.
What gun are you using with that?
The internals or this gun itself?
Just the gun itself, yeah.
The shell, I don't remember the name of the company. I went through my manufacturer that does my molds, actually sourced. Man, he sent me probably 20 samples. A lot I already had and already been playing with. But this shell is what we went with. This company we only use for the shell. So I didn't want to pay for new molds. I pay them for what they already have.
So, Joe James, basically that gun is basically redesigned inside. The internals is what you concentrated on to make that gun what it is.
The dual PCT heater component is developed by me. The heater is from one company. The PCT heater, the heater and the PCT, which is what controls how hot that heater gets, is from the same company. So basically what I did for years is built 100 guns and sat there and found out what was good about all of them. I've got a gun that could run for 8 hours on a 5.0 battery, even longer, but it will not keep up with the glue output. You want to fill a Kiko tab, and you're gonna pull 3 triggers, and it's gonna be like it's gonna come out cold. So I had to find the perfect sweet spot between heat up time and glue output and run time. And so all those 3 things, I think I've got pretty well into this thing.
So basically, you basically built like a Munster Frankenstein gun, but it took all the best parts from what you found out there and did it.
I took all the best components that I could find, and then I developed the circuitry to make them all communicate together in harmony. And so some of these people, will make a gun
but basically don't do any R&D on it and just basically do it like a neighborhood glue gun and say, okay, I'll use your glue gun and take my chances and see how well it works.
And some of them are great. I mean, that's what I did my whole career. I just said, oh, hey, I can take that component and attach it to this, and it works. But then you find out the consequences later. Like if you try to use a Makita battery on a 12-volt glue gun and you run that thing down, you over discharge the lithium cells. They'll never regenerate, or you got to try to jump start them to get them to accept a charge again.
That's what I found in some of the other guns out there, that if you use a Makita, and I've have about 12 Makita batteries, and now 6 are dead already. I mean, because of the early cordless glue guns, nothing to do it. Like you said, they're really good, great, but you got to know what you're getting into, taking chances of busting.
Actually, that brings up a good question, James. What is the best out of the 3 companies, Makita, DeWalt, and Milwaukee? Which has the best batteries? Because you've obviously probably researched that.
I don't feel that there's one best. I feel like these companies are so close together in quality that it depends what you want. So the Makitas charge the fastest. They have a different discharge linearity. So with the Makita, man, those things, they're the lightest weight and they charge the fastest. They will have, when they discharge, so let's say you pull them off the charger, they're about 20 volts. You run your light or you run your glue gun or your drill, you'll notice in your Makita drill, it's like, what? For a while, and then it degrades. And then it gets slower, or it dims. The light will slowly gradual dim because of the way that the battery discharges. The DeWalts and the Milwaukees are probably, I believe, they're probably using the same technology. They're using newer lithium cells or newer chips to control the discharge. They're more full power all the way, and then bam, you lose it. So with the DeWalt drill, you'll have maximum RPMs, maximum torque through the whole discharge cycle, and then all of a sudden you pull the trigger and you ain't got nothing. Milwaukee, you'll know when and Milwaukee's the same way. Sorry, the red lithium, at least. The red lithium's really all I've played with. I haven't played with their older stuff. honestly, I wasn't a big fan of them, but man, they're one of those companies like even like Ryobi or something. They've stepped up their game. They're throwing everything on the market right now. So that's one of the companies to look to. But they're heavier, take a little longer to charge, but they're all great. So it just depends. I tell everybody, look at their product line, and whatever you see in their product line that you like, that you want, that's the battery you should pick. So you can stay on one battery, one charger system.
Yeah. Which makes it super convenient. Because, you know, generally, as a PDR tech, if you now with your light and all these other batteries that are coming out with Makitas and DeWalt's, it's almost a no-brainer to invest in about 5 or 6 batteries now. You know what I mean? You also do you sell the generic series too now, or what?
I found a manufacturer to make generic Makita, and I use the same Samsung high quality cells, but they want to claim the Waltz and the Milwaukee. Actually, the Milwaukees are pretty good, but the shell, the casing, isn't as good as the OEM. The OEM casings, man, those things will take a beating. Whereas my generic DeWalt and generic Milwaukee, you'll hear some stuff rattling, or they'll chip in the corner if you drop them really hard. They still work, and for the money, they're decent. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even want to carry batteries. You know, I was like, man, I'm trying to sell this to someone who already has, you know, your drill, your Makita, Milwaukee, DeWalt, but I can't even compete. I try to sell them 2 batteries and a charger, and it costs more than they can go buy the combo kit with a drill, an impact, 2 batteries and a charger. So everyone that tries to buy batteries from me, I'm like, bro, go to Home Depot, go to Amazon. That's
what you told me,
buy the
dude.
combo kit. Yeah, and everyone's like, why are you leading me away? Don't you want to make money? I was like, I'm not trying to cheat anybody. I'm trying to be completely honest with you. Like, you can get a free drill by buying the combo kit instead of buying from me. No. And if you don't want the drill, go sell it on Craigslist or eBay.
That's I had a customer call me, that texted me the other day. Hey Mike, I saw your Mike Toledo series. I want this and I want that. Dude, just go to James, dude. Just go, you know, I don't have time for that. Just go to him. But anyways, moving on, you got one more product, James, because we got to come up with
how much are you selling the glue gun for?
Yeah.
It's on sale for $150. We have a $175 price mark on it. I don't know if it's ever going to hit that. It's going to be in the market for $150 for a long time. I don't know if I'll lift that sale.
All right.
That's a good price.
Hey, speaking of this, because we're listening to our podcast, guys, and we have a little special announcement, which we will, you don't have the code yet, but you'll send it to us, but you guys look for the code on pdrtooltime.com, episode 33. Go check it out. We're not going to have it on there. Well, it depends on James. If James tells me to pull it off, I'll pull it off. But when you listen to this, go check it out. See what kind of promo code you can type in to save some money on his products. All right. So
we'll do a promo code of PDR Tool Time, and it'll give you a discount.
Cool. PDR Tool Time. Check that out. Okay. So, all right, James. So, what we got? What else we got, dude?
Medusa.
What else you got?
The Medusa. Yep. So, you know, people keep asking us for a big light, and we're working on a big light. It's all in 3D scopes right now. The problem is, what I want to do with the stand, manufacturers are telling me no, it can't be done. So I've been engineering in my garage, and with some other people trying to prototype this stand that can be done. I'm just having a hard time finding someone who's willing to do it, and for a price point that won't kill us.
You know what, James? I want to come out to Texas and hang with you for a little bit in your garage.
He's probably got a belt sander too, dude.
Yeah. I'll bring my belt sander.
But when I say garage, I should say my friend's garage. That's where we have all the prototyping going on, because my garage is full of inventory from the floor to the ceiling. It's ridiculous. We just bought 2 acres. Well, we've owned 2 acres for a while, where we're going to build a home on, and now we're thinking about building a shop on it. So I'm doing
a lot. Think about it. You should just do it.
Yeah, we're the upfront cost to develop these new products are crazy, and I'm a type of guy that's like real safe. like where I throw my money, and I always make sure my family's
smart.
provided for. Yeah, but it's risk versus reward. I know if I can develop this light, I know it'll be just as successful, if not more, than the mini light.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with the head first, since there's so many good stand options out there. I'll probably release a decent light head and sell it with your existing stand, but I'm not giving up on the stand I want to do. And I actually saw someone post something similar to my idea on it was in Brazil or something, and I was like, damn, okay. There's a lot of guys out there. I don't know how many. Someone might beat me to the punch. This happens all the time. Someone has got the same idea frame as me, and I want to say he's closer than me because he's got a working prototype, but his is lacking some features that I'm trying to put on mine.
I think I know what you're talking about. I saw it, and I actually been talking to him
Good.
because I had some questions about it. But,
Yeah.
You guys,
yeah,
I
I
hate
know
to
what you mean.
say it, but we need to get James. You need to get those products.
Are we wrapping up?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I gotta pick up the kids pretty soon too. So
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so in order, so this does a couple things. This is our Medusa adapter. This is our if you love our lights so much, but you want to use them on a stand or a big light, this is all we've got to offer you right now. But it's pretty awesome.
What
It
is
even
that,
works-
James? To the people
This
who
is
are
called-
like,
This
can't-
is a Medusa adapter.
okay.
This will work in conjunction with your big lights. This hole right here will slide onto your boom pole. If you have like an ultra stand with the 3/4 boom pole,
Huh.
you slide that onto the stand.
So it's a
And then-
bracket that slides onto the
Yep.
stand onto the bar.
So think about your normal collar on your light. That's
Uh-huh.
all this is. Slides on there. You cinch it up, lock it into place,
Mhm.
and then you have your battery. You can click your battery in.
Yep.
And what did I do with that light? All right. And then you would click your light in. So you'd click your light into this end, and then it's there on your stand. You can maneuver it however you want. So if you had your like 36-inch light right here, you could cock this at an angle, and I like to run 2 on each side. So you would angle them in, and you've pretty much got a curved light or an angled light to work every aspect of what you're doing. But sometimes you need a light up close to start a dent or back far to finish a dent. I mean, you've got the spinal cord, so you can just push that light way up front. You could have one up front, one in the back. You could stack them for a wide head, make them
Yeah, I
lighter.
was using that when we were doing the shoot with Ultra. So
Yeah.
did
And
you
then
know
we put
he didn't like any of those pictures?
Yeah.
It was awesome shots, but anyways, yeah. But yeah,
Some of them were awesome. I saw some of the ones you sent me. This is a 12-volt port. So if you want to run all day and you don't want to be swapping batteries, you got a big deep cycle battery. You can put 12 volts in, and we got a step up in there to step it to 18 volt for the light. We also have the daisy chain wires that are almost here. So like for the travel guys that are flying or whatnot, I mean, what I like to do is I like to have a 20-inch and then 2 14s. So you could put a 20 in the middle, and then you could curve 2 14s on the outside with 3 adapters. I mean, you could travel with these much easier than a case.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
the daisy chain wire we have will go up from one battery. We'll plug into here, and then it's got another port, and you just daisy chain these, so you only have one wire.
How much is that little unit?
This guy right here,
Yeah.
it's 125.
Yeah.
Comes with the cable for the 12-volt input, and just everything you see here. If you already have a light, it's all you need to attach it to a stand.
Cool.
And we got this. It's a battery receiver. So if you want to run like your big hill lights off of Makita, DeWalt, or Milwaukee. Oh, I should say, unfortunately, guys, Milwaukee has been lacking in cells versus Makita and DeWalt. So this adapter we had to do from scratch. We only did Makita and DeWalt. If the Milwaukee demand gets high enough, because the glue guns have been moving pretty well, but as far as lights and anything else Milwaukee, it's lacking in comparison to DeWalt and Makita. I think that's just because Milwaukee is just now really starting to step up their game. I think we're going to see a move that way, but we'll see. But these only come in Makita and DeWalt. This comes in all 3. Can be used 2 ways. It's meant to attach to the Ultra stand. We developed this in conjunction with Ultra. They actually have an exclusive on it, so you can only buy it from us or Ultra or whoever Ultra is allowing to resell. I have no control over this one. This quick lock, goes onto to your stand wherever you want it. It locks into place. It's got the 12-volt female input for your cigarette lighter. You can power your light. It adds dimmer functionality. So once you plug your battery in, you have a battery gauge here. and then this will dim it or brighten the light. And you have a USB port to charge your phones, Bluetooth speakers. Same with their glue guns too. I should have mentioned that. You turn this on.
That's cool. Yeah.
2.0 output. Yeah.
Beautiful.
But I like.
How much is that little unit?
These are 150. These are a little more.
Okay.
But you can buy. We'll probably run a sale on there once I get with Steve, trying to figure out how we can do that. I have to run everything through him on that one. It was. It's funny because I had this idea coming out, but he wanted to really push it, so he pushed me to spit this out quicker, and give him the exclusive. So that's one of the things where here. I'll give it to you for cheap. You handle pretty much distribution. But I carry this thing like around with me. Instead of having that quick clamp, I put a ram cup on there. And before my glue gun came out, I had these. So I'd suction it to a car. I'd plug my 12-volt gun in there, and I'd have it sitting wherever I wanted.
Oh, that's good.
You can also use the dimmer function here as a temperature control on a glue gun. If you run it too low, though, it won't register and the gun will shut off. So you'll have to play with that. It's not really meant for that, but it's what I use it for. I just carry this around. I even have one with no cup, so it's just a flat base.
Dude, that's so cool because I hate bending over, reaching over, and grabbing my glue gun when I'm working on a dent, man, and burning myself.
Anybody who's got a 12-volt light, if they have like a Pro PDR light or an Ultra light or an A1 light, anything they want to run off 12-volt, they could use this adapter. And honestly, this is a plug for a 3/4 MPG thread. You could take this plug out. You could do it yourself, wire it internal like our light, and run your 12-volt light off an 18-volt battery.
Or what about the guys with the glue guns and they need to hook up their what do you call it? Their their little glue gun.
Yep. Or you can plug the light directly into here. You can just let this sit wherever you want and plug it right in.
Will that run at an AC? What do you call inverter? Like, can you plug that in there too?
You Possibly? Can try. It's got a 4 amp output, so if you overload 4 amps, that's where you're stuck. You're limited to 4 amps.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
We don't recommend running more than 3 strips. It's going to put a heavy load on the battery. It's going to discharge fast anyway. So.
All right, James. I hate to say it, but man, it's tech time. PDR tech time, dude.
Tool time.
PDR tool time, tech time, whatever.
Tool tip.
Tooltip.
None of us can talk.
No. This is actually the longest running one we've had, but it's been very, very good. So it's gone through.
I think we had to, man. We just had to.
Yeah, we had to.
It's good info, man. These guys,
so James, you want to go first or you want to go last?
Pick up this claw too. It's
there you go. Yeah, the claw. Dude, that saves me a lot on motorcycle tank stuff. When I have to have constant heat on. Just all kinds. That's an awesome
people
thing.
take for granted how much heat helps pushing nasty dents, especially bodyline stuff. Keeps that paint nice and soft.
It does.
Push through it.
All right, who wants to go first?
I pretty much put heat on everything now. I don't even.
You're the tank guy. You have to with those things, man.
No, but just on every car. I just automatically put heat on it. It's just
nice.
It just works better.
It's so much. It unfolds wants to unfold.
Yeah, you're such a good boy, Daniel. You do everything the right way. He's got a shop though. That's why.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go first. So the tool tech tip is, it's about regarding James' lead light or any technically lock line suction cup you have. So what I like to do, if I have a dent, I always put the suction cup either above the dent or below the dent with the lock line going straight down. So I let the lock line basically hold the light on its own. Shall I say, how do you say it? I pronounce. But anyways, it actually can hold the light much easier if you have the suction cup either placed above where you're working on the dent or below the dent. A lot of guys actually put the suction cup in the same straight line of where the dent's at. So now they're fighting their lock line trying to get it set, and they can never get it set. Because why? Because the lock line's right in front of them. So,
actually, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I would love you to do a dent trainer video on that, because I am shocked by how many guys have purchased my light.
They don't know how to set it up.
They've only ever used a shop light, a roll around light.
Yeah.
And I've been the opposite. I went from small light to shop light. So it blows my mind when they're telling me these things, and I'm like, wait, but you need to do this. And they're like, no, I should have worked that way. I want to put it here. And I'm like, Have you used a suction cup light before?
Yeah.
Like, no, it's my first one. I was like, okay, well, we're actually trying to make it work any way you want. That's why we got the spinal cord, and we're working to get that way. But for now, even when that's out, support the weight of the light or position it to where you can not have to move the suction cup and just move the board to angle it.
Don't put the suction cup right exactly the same way, a line of sight of where the dent's at, either above or below with the suction, with the lock line going up, straight up, or straight down. If you have it.
I agree.
You know why I do that? That's old, because of the old lock line. You had to curl it.
Yes.
And that's why I do that. And I now I'm feeling stupid. Yeah, why am I doing it that way? That's dumb.
Well, plus
that's a good tech tip, man.
I think I'm the first one that didn't follow the scheme of everyone else and make the lock line come out, up top. I came out the side.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
I just put the lock line where it should go.
Good one, Mike.
Well,
that's a good one.
Thank you. Who's next? Anybody?
Daniel.
Okay. I'm looking at my list.
You guys got to hurry up, man. You got 5 minutes.
So
not each, but total.
I had 2 last week, so I'm gonna pass.
So, you know what, guys? Take a bunch of 2x4s and cut them up. And cut them up into different shapes and have a stack of 2x4s. I cut them into wedges. I use the wedges all the time when I'm working in taillights and stuff like that. But I use them to stuff it into the taillight and use it for leverage. I have a whole pile of cut up 2x4s in different shapes. And I can't tell you how many times I use those. I'm working on cars, trying to just get a little bit of extra leverage or protecting an edge. I've taken some where I've sawed it, a couple lines in it so you can put them on to the edge of a panel to protect that edge. And there's my tech tip.
Cool. Good deal.
Leverage is key. It makes your life easy and control.
James?
If I have a tech tip, since the glue guns came out, I've gotten all these questions about glue and tabs and all this. So there's not one magic glue or gun or anything that's going to give you this awesome adhesion. There is combinations of glue, tabs, pull times. But guys, when you're doing glue pulling, prep your panel. So clean the dent, and then use what glue you think is right for your humidity, temperature, and make sure the gun's operating at the proper temperature for that. But when you put a tab on there and you yank it, did the glue stick to the panel or did the glue stick to the tab? If it stuck to the tab, then your adhesion loss is on the panel. If it stuck to the panel, then your adhesion loss is on the tab. So if you pull and you got a round thing of glue stuck to the dent, you need more adhesion on your tab. So your tab's either dirty, or what I like to do is rough it up. I've either scrubbed it on the concrete or sandpapered it and then cleaned it. If it's sticking to your tab and not the panel, then you need better adhesion on the panel. So alcohol wipe it. I've even used a compound with a microfiber, just one layer, a little dot, and scrub really hard in the center of that dent, and it'll rough up the center of the dent and give you good pull. I've even gone as far as like a Brillo pad or like sandpaper and just scuffed right where I want that pull to be. So that'll be the hardest pull. And your pull timings are key too, because if you let it sit there all day, it's going to get hard. It's going to be brittle. It's going to be like a snap. It's just going to release and not give you that pull. If you pull too early, it's going to be soft and it's going to stretch and it's not going to give you that pull. So I like to sit there and push on the
outside edge,
glue sticking out of the tab. Make sure it's tacky. And once it's got that little perfect sponge, man, you get that pop and that snap.
Yeah, timing's a lot. It definitely is.
Other than that, the suction cups. For all you guys, Woods Cup's the best thing we have right now. There's a couple guys out there developing something that I had started on and putting it to the side. Brandon David, that battery-powered suction cup. We need to add that to my light, bro. We need to get that going. Battery-powered suction cup has got to be the next invention. Collaborate with me. Make it. I'll buy it. Do something, please. But Woods Cup users, they require maintenance. Every couple months, pull that thing out. Pull the plunger out. Clean the rubber O-ring. If I'm in the field, I'll literally pull the dipstick out of the car and just thumb some lube on there, and then use it again. Make sure the screws are tight. If you're using our light, there's 2 screws that hold the rubber pad to the light. Those got to be tight. And then the 4 screws that sandwich the 2 bases together, make sure those are tight. That'll make sure the nipple is in the rubber base and you have vacuum.
Now, when you get one of those that just won't hold even after you've cleaned it and it does fail still, is that done?
For my experience, time is money. I buy a new one. It's not even worth.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Once the rubber's rotted or cracked and it's losing vacuum, you can sit there and try to condition it and bring it back. I mean, I've even been in the field and noticed like the nipples have cracked on me, or the nipple that goes into the rubber base, it's losing vacuum right there. I have like hot glued around it just to get me through the day. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about, $30, $15. You can buy just a plunger for like $12. Just replace that crap, guys. It's time. We ain't got time to sit there. But they do require maintenance. If you want to get the longevity out of them, you got to replace your AC filters in your house. They get gunked up with all that crap. So just remember that they do require some care. You do got to like change the oil in your car.
So don't send the Elim Dent light back to you because the suction cup's not working.
I have replaced lights for that issue, and to find out it is something so very simple. I've replaced the light because they didn't know that there was a master off on button, and they said the light wouldn't power on. And so there's just things have happened, and I'm not mad about it. It's just that's when I go on to Facebook and go, hey guys, we got a used unit or a scratch and dent a discount, and everyone's like, woohoo!
Cost of doing business, right?
Yeah, I just want everyone to be happy.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it, man.